today I want to show you one of my favorite features of Corona Render, that is Light Mixer. What I'm doing so far right now is I've just created a very basic setup that I have a room, a table, a chair, some objects, and I want to keep adding other elements. I have also downloaded this object just for being fast and also to show how to quickly transform materials of downloaded object into materials of your current render engine. So I'm just using my material editor. I'm picking material from object. I pick this one. This is leather, for example. What I'm going to do is I will simply, instead of applying another material and so on, I will instead turn this into a Corona material in a very quick way, that is like that. So this is a texture and I have to reload it from the folder that I have downloaded. So I double click on the map, I go to the name, the file name, I go to the folder where my stuff is downloaded, and it will be into downloads. This should be the chair. No, this is the table, so this is the chair. The pictures was called EMG Red, open, and the picture is loaded again. But this material is not a Corona, so what I will do is simply I will hit delete on the wire, and then I will quickly drag and drop my Corona material, and I will basically re-link that picture to my Corona material, and then I will reapply this to my object. That is a group, by the way. So I have simply to select my object, ungroup it, and I will drag and drop it now. Replace it, of course, here. Then I will apply here. And then if I want to check if it is working, I will simply double click on the material, turn on its preview, and I can see that my material has been correctly applied. This is one way to start changing materials on downloaded object. There is even another slightly different way that can be done by converting a material to your actual render, and it works like this. Let's say I select the material on the structure of the chair. This is something that will look like aluminum, probably, and it is already applied to these objects. It also has two maps. Let's check them. So I double click on the name. Of course, it is not found, but if I go to my history, I can quickly go to the folder, and this is the picture used into the diffuse color. Then I go to the picture that is my bump map. I can see that it is actually the same, so I will instead use a more convenient way. So I will delete these, and what I will do is I select my material that is a standard material, that is not a Corona one, and I will right click on it, and I will change material map type, and I will turn this material into a Corona material. In this way, unfortunately, the link with the map is automatically deleted, but what I gain is that wherever this material was applied, it is still applied. So I have simply now to re-link the picture, and also because in this particular case same picture was applied both to the diffuse color and to the bump map, instead of loading twice same map, I will, in a more clever and reliable way, I will apply twice same map to two different channels. And I will quickly continue working this way so that all my materials will be correctly converted. And probably I will start from now with a time lapse to make it faster. So this is my basic setup. Oops, I almost forgot to give a color to these diffusers. I will quickly make my own material. So I make another Corona material. I double click on it. Just want them. I just want them. And here I will show you a very interesting trick. I will open maps. They are all instances. So I will use this Corona multi-map and I will apply these to my diffuse color. And then I will apply my material to this selection. Okay? Then I double click on my map, I make it visible, make my material visible, double click on the map, and instead of material ID, I will select instance. If I am right, basically all these objects will change their colors according to the fact that they are all instances. We can start making a couple of renders to see if everything works. I just need to start applying lights. And here is where the thing becomes more and more interesting, because in Corona render I will use several kind of lights. So I will start by adding a Corona sun. And so I was saying, let's start understanding what I'm going to do. I will start placing several lights. I will add a Corona sun. And I will place it somewhere here. Then I will move it up. Why not? Then I will also add a ceiling later on and a wall in here. Into parameters of my Corona sun, I will make just a few changes because I want to add Corona sky environment. so that I have also sky dome. I will change the size, because the bigger the size is, the slightly softer shadows will be. So I will make it 4 as a size, and I will leave everything else as it is. Let me also quickly add a wall in here, and I want to open a window so that I won't have the entire scene blown by the sun. And I will make a quick pro boolean, start picking, pick this, perfect. Then I will also make a ceiling by making a copy of these, and I will change parameters. Okay, so that I quickly have this ceiling that also has same material of my walls. And I have started creating my scene. I have first light source, then I will add more lights. For example, I will quickly add a corona light, so I will place here. I will move it somewhere. Let's say this would be like a pendant lamp that is placed on top of our workstation, and I can add more lights. So I will add another light. In here I will make some adjustments, because let's say instead of sphere I will make these as a rectangle of light, and I will make it slightly thinner, and I will make it longer, and I will place these underneath the desk to simulate that effect that is when you have LED strips placed below tables, you know, like gaming setups. Why not? Let's make something that will be a little bit gaming. Then I will make one more interesting step, that is, I will create a very simple object. So I'll make a cylinder, and let's see if I can do this in a fraction of the time. I will make sides 3 so that it quickly becomes a triangle. I press F4 to see edges. I make this as a triangle, no segments, then right click, convert to editable poly, and I will simply select these edges. I will use chamfer to chop those corners. Perfect. And then I will simply make several instances. So I rotate this instance 60 degrees. Now we'll move it like that. And then, now that I have these two elements, I can copy them multiple times in order to make those very common lights that you find into gaming setups that are called, I think, nanonleaf. And I will make these objects glowing, and I will use a material to make this happening. So, okay, let's say this is enough. I will simply select all these objects. I will make them as a group, and I will rotate these 90 degrees. Perfect. and I will move them on a wall. So let's move them on this wall. I don't know if they are too big. Let's see from this viewport. Okay, maybe these objects are a little bit too big, so I will quickly scale them. Exactly. And I will move them here. And then let's select this group, place it here. It is not that perfect, but it's okay. I mean, this is not meant to be a modeling tutorial. And I will quickly move these on my wall. And last step that I will do is I will create a new Corona material. This time I will create a Corona light material, and I will give this material to my group like so. Okay? If you can notice, I am not using a lot of attention in other light parameters like the color, the intensity, and whatsoever, and I will show you why in a second. Because now I will create my Corona camera. We'll make a nice, let's try to make a nice view. So let's go to Corona camera. Let's make this view a bit more interesting by decreasing the field of view. Let's see also, let's see what I'm viewing. So I click show save frame to be sure that this is what I'm going to see as my final image. I mean, it's not that bad. I've seen worse things in my life. Okay. So now I will save these just in case. Perfect. And I will render with Corona. And you will see that probably it won't be that great. So let's time lapse it. Okay, let's stop here. As you may know, let's stop here. As you may see, I mean, it's not that great. I have to change the exposure a lot because I have my sunlight that is very bright. And when I make this adjustment, because the sunlight is light source that is stronger, I can see that none of my 3 other light sources becomes visible in this particular image. So what I will do in Corona is this. Look, it is one of, my favorite features. That is, I go to render settings, I go to scene, and I click this button that is called Setup Light Mix. I click Instanced Lights, yes, if they are lights that I've set as instances. I click Generate. And what happens now is basically that when I render, in my render dialog box, so into the virtual frame buffer that is this part here of the render, I have this tab that is called Light Mix. And in here I see that I have all my light sources listed, and I have the cylinder that is basically this object here. I have the environment, I have the Corona Light 1, Corona Light 2, so I have the light on top, I have the LED strip below the table, and what happens now is this. I can even stop the rendering, even if it is not super polished, it's okay, I can click stop. But basically now what happens is that if I want to quickly turn my daytime view into a night scene, for example, I can immediately turn off Corona Sun, I can turn off the skylight, and in my rendering, I will see basically what all my remaining lights are doing so far. So, not only I can turn on and off light sources after making the rendering, like these, but I can also change their intensity and their color after the rendering is done, just by remaining into my virtual frame buffer of Corona Render. So I can, for example, if up here I have my Corona Light 1, and if I want I can increase its intensity or decrease it. Down here we can see that we have that sort of LED strip underneath the table that is my Corona Light number 2, so I can, let's say, decrease the intensity, but I can also change the color. So let's say we'll make a nice saturated color like this one, and I will see that in real time my light changes. Same, and this is not true only for light sources, but because I have created a Corona Light material, even those objects are acting like light sources. So I can make my Corona cylinder light brighter, and I can also change the color. So if I want to make a theme on my gaming room and I want to make like purple and green or magenta and green, I can have this object illuminated. I can turn my main light to blue, why not? And without making the rendering again, without changing lights, just by remaining into the Corona virtual frame buffer with the light mixer enabled, I can quickly change my rendering, my view from night to day. I can experiment with lights, I can turn off and on my LED strip, I can turn on and off my overall light, I can turn on again the environment that is the sky, and I can instead decrease its intensity just to have a overall diffused light. I can make a warmer color if I don't want this white, so like it is afternoon. So I will give a more orange tone and I can change it in its intensity. Same thing for the sun. So I can make it more yellowish. I can decrease its intensity and I can blend all elements that are creating lights just by using this interactive light mix without doing my rendering twice. I think this is such a cool feature that is in Corona Render, and this is one of the main reasons why I use Corona Render as main render engine in combination with 3ds Max. And this is also one of the most common questions that students used to ask me, and why not? This can be one answer. Okay? So, if you liked this video, hit the like button, feel free to comment, make me questions, I would love to answer, and why not subscribe for more videos. Okay? And as I usually say, have fun, bye!